If you're going to be sharing your document with others, you may or may not be aware that additional information is stored with your document, outside of what you see on the printed page. Personal information might exist, XML data. Also, headers and footers might contain information you don't want to share. Well, instead of going through our document page by page, looking for that information, we can let Word do it for us, and that's exactly what we're going to do here, using Bio Final 1 document. First step is to go up to the File tab. From here, let's just take a look over in the right-hand side. You'll notice that there is information about our document. This is called metadata. It's stored with the document, and some of it is personal, like the author and who last modified it. Well, if we don't want to share that information, we have a way to inspect our document for such information and have it removed. Let's go over here to the left-hand side and look at the Inspect Document section here, where we can look through our document, properties, headers, footers, content that people with disabilities are unable to read. So, check for accessibility. We access all of those options from the Check for Issues button. We'll give it a click and you can see there are three options here. Inspect Document, where we're going to look for those hidden properties and personal information. There is accessibility as well as checking for compatibility if you plan on sharing your documents with people who have older versions of Microsoft Word. Let's begin with Inspect Document. Now by default, all of these options will be checked off, looking through comments, revisions and annotations. If there are any, they can be removed. Document properties and personal information. There it is. How about XML data? Whenever you use placeholders, you're generating XML data. You may not even be aware of headers, footers and watermarks, invisible content and hidden text, which you can't even see in your document, might exist. Word will find it, and if you want to remove it, you'll have that option. So let's click Inspect, so it goes through our 8 pages looking for each of those sections, and as you can see at the very top, we're okay as far as it goes with comments, revisions, versions and annotations. There aren't any. But we do have an issue down below with document properties and personal information. Now we do have the ability right off the bat here to click Remove All and remove all of that information. Go ahead and click it, and now we see a check mark. We're good to go. Everything else looks okay until we get to headers, footers and watermarks. Now clicking the Remove All button next to headers, footers and watermarks will actually remove your headers, footers and watermarks when there might only be a little piece of information inside one of those areas that you need to remove. So be careful with that one. In fact, we might just want to close this up and edit the header, footer or watermark ourselves. So we'll click Close. Notice right away that the Related People section, personal information, the author, who modified it last, that information is gone. Perfect. We'll click our back button to go back to the document, and as we scroll down, looks like the header is okay, but the footer does have the name of our author down there. So that still exists in our footer. Let's just double click down there to get inside. Click once on the words you can see its field, and actually what we want to do is double click and delete. Good, it's gone. As we scroll further down, no other issues with our header footers. There aren't any watermarks, so we can close this up. And we want to save our changes. If we don't, you'll be prompted to the next time we re-inspect. So let's go to File tab. You can click Save or just go to Check for Issues and try Inspect Document. There's that prompt for us to save our changes. You can click Yes, and there's our checkboxes again. We can re-inspect by clicking the Inspect button. Go through this process again. All we're going to see now is the headers, footers and watermarks. They do exist, but we know they're cool and ready to go. So we can close this up, knowing we're ready to share our document. Now what about accessibility? Will people with reading disabilities be able to gather information from our document? Let's go back to the File tab. This time when we click Check for Issues, we'll click Check Accessibility. This opens up a pane on the right hand side, and you'll see a number of errors. Quite often with images you want to have alternate text, and we don't have that for a number of pictures. As we click these, you'll see the solution down below. First of all, you'll see why you should fix it, and you'll see how to fix it. Now one of these might have to be fixed manually yourself, so every time you click something you'll see it actually highlighted or selected in the document. You can make the fix on the fly. But let's just close up the accessibility checker, knowing how it works now. We'll go back to the File tab, down to Check for Issues, and this time check compatibility. Now when we do this, we're going to see a number of issues summarized here under Select Versions to show. I want you to see that when you click the drop down, that all versions of Word are selected. If you know you are going to be sharing with people using Word 2010 or higher, you can deselect Word 2007 and Word 97 to 2003. Notice the issues disappear. But if you know you might be sharing with people using Word 2007, those issues reappear. Shapes and text boxes will be converted to effects available in this format. So you just are simply made aware that certain graphics might look a little bit different to those using older versions of Microsoft Word. So we'll click OK. That's a quick look at preparing to share your documents with others. Once you've gone through all of the issues, fixed up your document and resaved it, it's time to share. We'll talk about that next.